Good morning. I call to order the November 5th, 2019 meeting of the Saline County Board of Commissioners. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Shadwick.
Here.
Commissioner Sparks.
Here.
Commissioner Vidrickson.
Here.
Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
I ask that you please stand and join me in a flag salute, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move to the public forum portion of our meeting where citizens may speak on county government, usually limited to 3 minutes, and items pertaining to items that are not on today's agenda. Does anyone wish to address the commission? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for regular business. Item number 1.
Approve agenda for public forum as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda for the public forum as presented.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve today's agenda. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion does carry. Item number 2.
Emergency management update. Michelle Barkley, Emergency Management Director.
Good morning,
Good
Michelle.
morning, Michelle.
Good morning. How are you
Good
guys?
morning. Good.
So it feels like so long ago. I'm coming up on 6 months, and I can't believe it. Basically, a long time ago, back in July, on the 4th of July, we had roughly 10 inches of rain fall in the city limits of Gypsum. That required a lot of water rescues and a lot of correlation between Salina Fire, Rural Fire District 2, and the Sheriff's Office, and we had Pioneer assist with that. We are looking at probably late spring for the next step in the public assistance program from the disaster period from May. And when I hear something from the state, you guys will be the first to know. Next, the Homeland Security grant program. We have both projects for our regional SWAT team and our regional hazmat team that have been approved, and next we will be receiving the funding and we're purchasing equipment and training opportunities for both of them. We also had our Homeland Security equipment monitoring by the Highway Patrol, and everything is in order. They actually gave us some ideas of things that we could possibly do, projects that we could look for in the future for the Sheriff's Office and the Mounted Patrol. We partnered with the Department of Homeland Security for a Saline County active shooter workshop. We had a bunch of regional community partners show up, and it was an amazing turnout. There was a lot of great feedback, and we got a lot of people to join our local emergency planning committee from it. So I'm looking forward to meeting again with them in December and seeing what next steps they want to take in terms of active shooters in their community. We also did a safety and weather brief to NASA when they were in town. Basically, NASA, NOAA, and 40 other additional partners came into Salina to study the smoke. They had basically tricked out an airplane with a bunch of different apparatus and instruments to monitor the components of what is in smoke, whether it be wildfires, and they flew all over the southern region of the nation just analyzing smoke. We had a chemo conference in September, which was a lot of great training and a lot of updates that are being made from the state. We are going to have several changes to our emergency operations plan, and the Red Cross is changing regions, so to be a little proactive with that, we've gone ahead and picked 3 shelters and got them pre-approved, just so that's not something we have to worry about in the case of a disaster. And my personal favorite, our continuity of operations plan. I know that that was a really big push that Hannah had wanted us to accomplish, and I am happy to say that about 90% of departments have their COOP plans in place, fully knowing that this is a living document, and with turnout of employees and changes and stuff like that, there will be some updates that will need to be made, but for the most part, the majority of the department's plans are established. The next step for that, we're looking to possibly do an exercise and train on those plans, just so we can see where the gaps are and continue to make it a little bit better. And lastly is our rural fire. They had an average of 6 fire calls and 9 EMS calls in the past 3 months. We are looking to transition the program that monitors our burn permits. So in continual future updates, there will also be a data showing how many controlled burns that we had in the county in the past 3 months.
Michelle, tell me on the graph, the red versus the gray, which is?
So your red is going to be your fire and your gray is going to be your EMS.
Oh, okay. And that is for a period of what again?
3 months.
3 months? Okay, this is very well put together. Thank you for doing it in a fashion that commissioners can understand. So, and you're correct, it has been a very quick 6 months. I didn't realize it had
Me
been
neither,
that.
until Hannah sent me the email and I said,
Boy,
oh,
no
that
kidding.
time already.
Well, we sure appreciate the job that you've been doing and your department, and job well done, so.
Thank you.
Other comments from commissioners?
Just a quick question here on the mounted patrol. What do they do? I mean, is it funded by?
So it is under the sheriff's office, but they do their funding through donations. So they help with a wide variety of things. They'll do security for our shelters and point of distribution centers. They've got a dive team, and they've gone out and done recoveries. They've been deployed to both Dickinson and Ellsworth County to assist in some of the things that they need. The sheriff is very open to letting them deploy in whatever sense that they may be needed. So something that was brought up by the Highway Patrol was possibly getting them ballistic vests, just because there are just 2 levels to the mounted patrol. There's the sworn law enforcement, which is your level 1, and then your level 2 is basically just your citizens that are wanting to volunteer. And with that being said, they do sometimes go into situations, and the armed law enforcement don't have the ballistic vests, so that's something that we're going to look into.
Okay, thank you. One other quick question here. When the NASA was here with their plane, I mean, did they give you any response to the smoke? Was there any?
So they are compiling all the data that they collected, and they're going to write a report, and they said that they would forward that on to Bernie and I, because we both found it incredibly fascinating, especially with all the controlled burns that we do in the county.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Thank you, Michelle. Job well done. We'll move on to item number 3.
RFA number 180-19, declare Saline County property of no value. Hannah Stambaugh, interim county administrator.
Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning, Commissioners. Saline County Road and Bridge and then the Livestock and Expo Center have some access property that they are requesting to have declared no value and authorization to sell it on Purple Wave. And then we also do have one item from Senior Services that has one item that they're wishing to declare as no value, but asking for authorization to donate to a nonprofit. Our county policy does allow for 3 different methods of disposal, and those are donation, to a nonprofit, destruction, or sell. Our recommendation is for these items to be listed as no value, authorizing the sale of them on Purple Wave and the donation of the sewing machine to a nonprofit organization. The list of items was presented to all the other county departments before this is being brought to you, as well as the rural fire districts, for them to look at to find out if there was any pieces of equipment that they would happen to be interested in. The proceeds from the sales of these items on Purple Wave will be deposited into the respective departments' accounts from which that piece of equipment was purchased from, which from Road and Bridge and Expo Center is most likely going to be their their special equipment fund. And just to kind of give you just a little bit of history, Road and Bridge had provided me some numbers. They have had 5 Purple Wave auctions to date with just of the pieces of equipment that they have had access of, and have netted $365,059 that has been placed back into their special equipment fund for future purchases of items.
Those are for items of no value, huh?
Well,
That's pretty good.
no value to a
Right,
Road
I
and Bridge
understand.
department.
Tongue in cheek there.
Right.
So, any other questions of Hannah from commissioners? Okay, then I would, any public comment?
Norman Mantle, Salina. When is it of no value? I mean, what is the criteria? Is it we don't use it for 6 months, or we haven't used it for a year? Is it sitting out there somewhere and we're not using it?
It is completely dependent upon that department head. Several of these particular items that are on the list have completely exceeded its life expectancy for our use in a safe manner to keep our employees safe. So it is time for us to be able to get rid of.
An example would be a pickup with 300,000 miles on it that was inundated with the flood waters this summer, that went through the flood. Those are the types of things that we put on there. Or shelving or something like that that we just don't use anymore. I mean, it has some value, but it has no value to us to just sit in the back corner. That's basically where it comes from.
There you go.
All right, any other comments? If not, I'll take a motion for the approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move we declare the listed property in RFA 180-19 of no value.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 180-19 declaring Saline County property of no value and to be sold on Purple Wave. All of those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion does carry. Item number 4.
RFA number 181-19, Saline County Agreement with TreanorHL, Hannah Stanbaum, Interim County Administrator.
And Hannah, again.
Okay. This is a request for action for the approval of the chairman's signature for the agreement between Saline County and TreanorHL for architectural and engineering services as it relates to the Saline County Jail project. This agreement and the exhibits are all attached in your particular packet. This is just a standard, this is the contract that has been reviewed by County Council several times and a couple of different language changes that has been negotiated through those different discussions. Just for a recap as far as this particular contract is concerned, this is their contract for their fixed fee for Phase 1, which is pre-bond services, for a total of $53,250. This particular expense will be taken from the Saline County's capital improvement account, and TreanorHL has already begun work on this particular project, which began with a kickoff meeting on the 11th of September for an introductory meeting and some workshops to be held with some very key staff members or more of a focus group that were held on September 25th, October 16th, and October 17th. Part of this contract, too, is Phase 2, which is post-bond services. However, this is by separate authorization. And the post-bond services trainer's fee would be 7.8% of total construction costs should a bond referendum pass in the future. Obviously, our recommendation is for the chairman's signature, and trainers already begun their work, and we're pleased with the information that we've heard from them. Has been some great discussions, and Commissioner Weiss has sat on that particular focus group with us and has provided some reports back to the rest of the commission. So, subject to any questions that you have,
Okay. Are there any additional comments, Jim, that you would want to make that have come from this, or that you haven't already passed along?
No, this pretty much goes back to when we made this selection. We're just putting a signature to that selection is all.
Okay. Other comments from commissioners? I would ask for public comment if anyone wishes to speak.
Karen Shade, Salina. I guess I want to start with something that was on the news last night. Oklahoma has had a lot of problems with a lot of state prisoners and county jails being overfilled. And they released a large number, and the number didn't stick in my mind, of state prisoners who just had misdemeanor crimes. And they plan on saving $12 million. So that's one option to reducing the jail population that hasn't been widely talked about. But
That is an option that is unavailable to the county commission.
Well,
And I disagree with you, it has been widely talked about. It's been part, yeah.
but that particular option of releasing people through the state system, yes. So anyhow, when it comes to this contract, I had a few questions. I'm pleased to hear Commissioner Weiss was part of, when I read about the meetings. I understand why they would be small groups, but it doesn't appear to me that all 5 of you have attended those meetings, plus the sheriff. Has it just been a few of the
Correct.
commissioners?
So this particular group is strictly for Trainer, and that was
Right.
decided on from the very beginning from our kickoff meeting. It was
Right.
not a desire whatsoever to have the full board of commissioners on that. What we were particularly looking for is gathering a lot of information and a lot of history. Where have we been? Where have we gone? What have been some of the challenges? And so this particular group is very, very, very small focus. So it has been the sheriff, Commissioner Weiss, myself, and then a couple of members from the sheriff's office that deal directly with the jail operations.
Good. And so as they go to the next round of meetings, will it include all 5 county commissioners?
Absolutely. So we are still
Okay.
very, very, very much so in very preliminary stages. A lot of it is data and information gathering on
Right.
what the status of the current facility is, the research and everything that's been done from Mr. Robertson's report, and being able to collaborate all of that information appropriately before we go and talk a little bit more with the public. So Trainer was actually in town yesterday, and we are looking at some potential dates for our first town hall meeting that would be open completely to the public, and obviously all 5 commissioners would be present for that as well, hopefully aiming for sometime in December.
And how are you looking at scheduling those in the sense of, and I'm just picking numbers out of the air, first town meeting on December 1st, second town meeting on December 2nd, third town meeting on December 3rd? Or are you going to go and allow lapses of time so that parties can hear the questions and then have some time to gather answers and then come back?
That's a very good question, and we're still trying to figure that out a little bit. And based off of Trainer's experience of previously doing these projects, that's kind of what we have seen that has been very successful, is holding one town hall meeting, gathering all of the information and questions that come from the citizens, bringing our group back together and regrouping, figuring out how to package messages or package information, and hold another one at a later date. So that's what we're looking at right now. So we'll just kind of, some of it we're just going to have to wait and see. This is all new for us too.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out what is going to be the best option for our particular community to get the information out.
And-
Bottom line, there will be lapses of time in there.
Okay.
It's not going to be, have a meeting at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday evening, and Wednesday morning we're going to convene and dispose of it. It's not going to work that way.
Yeah.
Okay, because as I read through it, that stands out. One of the other things, the contract you're going to be signing, that is before you, doesn't really create any incentives for a trainer to come up and promote low-cost alternatives, because everything you put into that jail, they're going to be making a profit from. So cost plus a percentage of cost contracts have that concern?
So you are aware there's a second stage to all of this, and that
Okay.
is another process where we are looking at the project delivery method of this, and that is a construction manager at risk. Those proposals were due on the 1st of November. We had our jail committee that met and reviewed the proposals and have narrowed it down to 3. On November the 19th, we will be interviewing, the Board of County Commissioners will be interviewing those 3 particular firms for a construction manager at risk. When we talk about cost-saving alternatives and guaranteed maximum pricing and overall construction costs, that's where a construction manager at risk comes on. They're going to work hand in hand with Trainer, but that's almost 2 separate issues.
And so they too would address things like meeting deadlines. and
Absolutely.
There's a lot of that that's been narrowed out in here.
Absolutely.
So this, that is covered, just.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Trainer is not the one that's going to set the price on this. They give cost estimates. The
Okay.
bid process will take care of Trainer's fee, and Trainer will not be involved in that in terms of setting that price. That will be they're into the planning portion of it, and then they will, along with us, and the public, will determine what kind of a project that we would want. It would then be voted on, and we would come up with a number. That's where the number comes from. That's where Trainer's number comes from. The Trainer doesn't have anything to do with setting the price of how much they're going to get 7.8% of.
But Karen, I did ask that question yesterday. Obviously, what is the incentive for the construction manager at risk or the builder to not design a huge jail? The answer I got was a huge jail probably won't pass, and they won't make any money. And so that is probably their incentive, I feel. But I asked the same question.
And I think knowing the conservative nature of this community, I would probably agree.
Right.
And like in my email, I didn't expect for these questions to be asked here, but there are some questions. It's frustrating to me that this relies heavily on the work of Jim Robertson. He didn't answer some questions. He wrapped up his report and was gone and didn't answer some questions, and those questions still remain. And so this is where, for transparency, the sooner those kind of things can be answered, then people move on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the commission?
Norman Arnold, Salina. Monty mentioned that it had been discussed before. Karen brought up 450 of them they're giving pardons to. So at least we're looking at trying to reduce the population somehow. We may not like it, but at least you're looking for something.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for further comments or action.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve by signature the agreement with TreanorHL for architectural and engineering services.
Second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve RFA 181-19 Saline County Agreement with TreanorHL for architectural and engineering services. Are there any further comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion does carry. Is there any other business to come before the commission or any announcements? I would like to remind everyone that today is voting day. Be sure you get out and vote. I see people in the comments in the paper that said, no, I don't vote in these local elections, I'm only for the president. Well, the local government is more, will affect more of us than anything going, so get out and vote today. Further, there will be no meeting next week. Number one, we're going to be at the KAC conference in Wichita, and I would like to remind everyone that support your veterans. Next week is Veterans Day on November 11th. And with that, I would take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn today's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. A short meeting will follow in room 107B.